it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
VMware is happening now. It was happening years ago. But I think you've grown tremendously. The trajectory is huge. I wanted to ask you to elaborate on that.
Yeah, we've been, probably a little known secret, we're the fastest growing software company in the history of computers. We've gone from 0 to 5.2 billion in 15 years. So we're not that old a company, just 15 years. And in that segment, we've been really fortunate to be synonymous with VMware's virtualization with really the infrastructure around data centers. So as we look at where the data centers are going, we think that the next big wave is the infrastructure for the mobile cloud era. And that's really the mission and tagline of the company.
So for a company your size is growing so huge, how do you keep at the cutting edge of innovation?
I mean, it starts with hiring the smartest engineers. We're a product company. We build the best, I've always said, you build the best product and customers come. So in our space, in enterprise infrastructures company, we probably are thought of as like a Messi or Michael Jordan of software. So you have to keep hiring really smart engineers. And sometimes you do them, but it's not just in the Silicon Valley. We now have one of the largest campuses in the Silicon Valley, but the same in Bangalore in India, in Beijing in China, or in Israel, or wherever have you. And then, of course, we have to really be relevant to what the top priorities are in IT and line of business. So, if you're not innovating and you're not relevant, quickly you start getting pushed down the stack in terms of priorities. And today, if you look at any Gartner survey, the future of data centers and cloud computing is right up there. The future of where end user and mobile computing is right up in the top 3 or 5. And trends like big data and analytics are also up there. And we have a play in that through our investment in Pivotal. So we're very excited about the future, and we've got to keep growing that total available market.
So companies that are growing at your pace, there are two ways of looking at innovation. One is organic growth, the other is acquisitions. Which one do you prefer and why?
We tend to be a company that sort of starts out with organic growth. Organic growth is clearly the cleanest, and probably 70–80% of what we do is organic business. We can innovate, we've got smart engineers. But we're also careful to innovate the future, not consolidate the past. So let's talk about 2 acquisitions we've done, the 2 biggest acquisitions in the history of VMware. Actually, first off, I'd back off by saying VMware itself is an acquisition that EMC did, very highly innovative, but then spun out again as a public company. But 2.5–3 years ago, we bought this company that was one of the best diamonds in software-defined networking, Nicira. And NSX now, our product has become sort of the top of the industry. Almost every article in networking today are featured sort of position of where people are going in software-defined networking. So it's attracted an enormous amount of attention. That was the second largest acquisition we've done to date. And then just in February this year, I led the acquisition of AirWatch to really get into mobile. That was a $1.5 billion acquisition. And we think both of these, both in terms of where the data center is going, networking is really here, and where the end user is going, mobile. And you look at sort of some of the big acquisitions that were actually sort of relatively smaller acquisitions. Now we look back at 10–15 years ago. Things like YouTube being bought by Google, PayPal being bought by eBay, very material ones. That's what we hope both Nicira and AirWatch turn out for us.
Finally, while you're innovating, you're keeping an eye on the market and the competition. It's a very difficult 2-pronged strategy. What would your take on how you do that?
I think you have to look at the competition from the standpoint of, the disruptive things that could happen, disrupt you over the course of the next 5–10 years. And we've always been one that challenged and defied convention. We've always wanted to be the disruptor. But there's somebody who's trying to disrupt VMware themselves. And you're always looking for who that startup, a bigger company is, what are those disruptive trends, and then play to disrupt in turn. And when you do that, whether it's a small company or a big company, you don't obsess about them, but you're also intellectually honest about knowing who your competitors are. And we build a very competitive culture. We measure our market share in every segment. And certainly in my segment, I have a couple of competitors that I watch, like a hawk every quarter in terms of our market share growth. We also hire, both from grooming people internally, but also from the competition where we can poach good talent. And that keeps us a better and better company.
Sanjay, pleasure. Thank you so much.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you.